So you have an interest in photography, but you have literally no idea where to start. Well, that's what I'm going to explain or show you today, the 5 things that you should do if you're interested in becoming a photographer. Tip number 1, just start. When I was starting out in my photography, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just starting. I had no idea how to use a camera, what a focal point was, what aperture was, but I just started taking photographs because I knew I wanted to be good, if not one of the best photographers in my area. And in order to do that, it just literally meant that I had to start from somewhere. When I got my first DSLR camera, I was shooting completely in auto mode, not manual, completely in auto, and just going out and photographing everything and anything that I could, from flowers in my backyard to nightscapes to lamps to my children as they were running around, to literally anything and everybody. The idea for me wasn't to want to know everything in one sitting or one photograph. It was to find out what it was that I loved about photographs and what I actually wanted to photograph. I did macro photography, I did wedding photography, I did portrait photography, I did event photography. I was just, everywhere that I went, wherever I went, I always had my camera with me, and I was just taking photographs after photographs after photographs. Now granted, I didn't have much of an idea what I was doing at the time, and yes, a lot of those photographs were pretty terrible, but the thing was that I was learning how to use and hold my camera. I was learning how to make it comfortable in my hands. And I got to be known as the girl who would always have a camera with her when she was going to places or to family events. And even though some of these photographs, they aren't very good, they are blurry, they are out of focus, but they're still photographs that I took that brought me to the journey or the place that I am now, because they taught me so much about what it was that I did like to photograph, the things that I needed to improve on as a photographer, and where I wanted to take my photography in my journey to become a professional photographer in business. My second tip is to pick up your camera often, if not daily, to get used to holding it in your hands. Back when I was first starting in photography, I came from an era of film days where your camera would have a multitude of lenses, and you had to go to the shops to purchase a roll of film that you then had to load into your camera and set it up in order to click and take all the photographs that you wanted. And then once that film was actually full, you then took that film into your local film shop or chemist, and they developed it for you. And that process of developing, you could have them back sometimes within a week or sometimes even longer, like 2 to 3 weeks. So it wasn't a fast process that gave you immediate satisfaction. You literally had to sit and wait to see what it was that you'd actually photographed when your photos actually came back. And now we're in the world of digital cameras and digital photographs, so DSLRs have become very popular. I myself, I have 2 DSLRs. I'm a Nikon girl, and I love them, and I have a multitude of lenses with them. But in saying that, I also have a little snap and shoot camera that I carry around with me in my bag. And this is my little snap to go camera. It's lightweight, it's portable, it's small and it's compact. It has a built-in flash on it. It is waterproof. I like it because, one, it's a bright yellow, so when it's in my bag I can very quickly see it. As you know, ladies, we always have a lot of things in our bag, so the color is always important. But mostly it's because I can just pick it up and I can just snap and shoot photographs of things or moments that are happening then, or things that are giving me an idea or a concept, or something simple that I just would love to capture as a photograph. Knowing that I have a camera with me at all times that isn't my phone is really good, because it has really upped the ante on my own photography work. And the simple action of taking the camera out of my bag, turning it on, and then setting it up to take a photograph gives me great pleasure. It gives me really, really great joy to do that. And the thing is, when you're starting out in photography, you're not expected to know everything that there is. This takes time. I have been building this career for myself for quite a number of years. Like I said, I was a point and shoot. I was in auto. I wasn't in manual. I had no idea what rule of thirds, what DSLR, what composition, what any of that meant. F-stops, anything. I had no idea. I learned this as I went along, and you can too. You don't need to know everything. The whole idea when you're starting out in photography is to enjoy it, but also to start training your eye so you can capture incredible photographs, which brings me to point number 3. Tip number 3, start to train your eye. When you're first starting out in photography, you pick up the camera to take photos because you want to capture a moment or because you really enjoy doing it. And the more that you do that and you take photographs, the more that you will start to train your eye to see what it is that you actually like, what is actually making a photo good, and what actually stands out in the photograph that you want to take. When you're taking your photos, after a while, you will naturally see what is appealing to your eye and what is pleasing for you as a photographer. And this is what I mean when I say start to train your eye. Do it over and over and over, and you will understand and go with your gut feeling about what it is that makes a good photograph. Enjoy the flow of your discoveries, trust your gut, and don't overthink it. And as a budding photographer, I'd love to be on your cheer squad and cheer you on as you're going through this journey of your own personal discovery of your own photography. Drop in the comments what it is that you do like to photograph. If you've got an Instagram account, drop that in too. I'll head on over, have a look, and I'll like and follow you too. Which brings me to tip number 4. Start to move your body. Now, instinctively, when we are just starting out as photographers and we have our camera, we always will bring our camera up to our eye and look through the viewfinder in the camera to take the photograph. But I'm going to challenge you to start to move your body. Things like get down really low on your tummy and take a photograph coming up, or even better, come up high and take a photo coming over. Or use the thighs and start to crouch down and up and, in and out through like trees, or, have something in front of the lens that partially covers it and you've obscured it a bit. Be creative. Don't just go for the ordinary. Be creative in this phase and look for the extraordinary or a different way that you can capture the photograph. By moving your body when you're taking the photograph, you'll start to see different angles and different viewpoints of your photographs, and they actually become more interesting, and you'll actually be quite excited by it and want to try new and different things with it. Go on, be adventurous, take a risk. And finally, tip number 5, and this is the biggest tip that I give to every person who comes to me and talks to me about wanting to be a photographer. Print your photographs. Now, they don't have to be printed by a professional. They could simply be printed at your local photo shop or at places like Harvey Norman here in Australia, which costs about 10 cents a print for the 4x6 prints. And that's all that you need. When you start to print your photographs and you look at them, you'll start to see ways that you can improve, or how your progress is improving over time. And that's really exciting. It's also something very tangible. There's something very incredibly special about when you hold your own photograph that you've created with your hands in your own hands, and you show that to your family and your friends, and you talk to them about how you captured that photograph and the things that you'd like to try next. You get a whole new vibe of excitement that's just next level. When you do print your photographs, grab a pencil and on the back of that photograph, write out some notes in particular of that photo, like time, date, maybe lens choice that you used, maybe the light, or where it was, or a location, things like that. Just, they don't need to be lengthy, just little notes that you can actually script onto the back of the photograph. And if you'd like to see how I use my 4x6 printed photographs on a daily basis to move the needle in my business, but also to create and generate ideas for my concepts for my photography, check out the link that's in the description. You'll see it in there. And until we see you again, I hope you have a brilliant day. Go out and discover and create some magic with your camera, and I can't wait to see what it is that you do create. Till next time, bye.